When most people die, they're buried in a casket with a headstone.
But there's a new trend on how people are being laid to rest. Charles Benson is here with a fascinating story, Charles.
Yeah, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Those words are taken quite literally by many. And now a Waukesha cemetery is making sure our loved ones who have passed become part of the earth as quickly as possible. In a place known for death, there's a special area that is a clear depiction of how Annette Kirchen's father lived.
Our family is very much believes in living a simple life.
A simple life with a simple burial. Instead of a tombstone, a field of prairie. Instead of a casket,
my dad really wanted a shroud because that was the quickest way to become part of the earth again.
It's called a natural burial. A body is quite simply put in the ground and buried. If there is a casket, it must be biodegradable. This one is wicker.
It sounds kind of crazy, but when I found out about this, I was so excited.
Annette's dad was a monk.
This is when my dad was in the monastery in Utah.
He left just before taking his final vows.
It really did influence his life quite greatly.
And it influenced his final wishes.
What he really wanted when he died was to be buried like the monks were.
It's a type of burial that's not so easy to find, but there is a growing demand.
Once the news got out that we were doing this, we started getting inquiries from all over the state and even in the Chicago area.
David Brenner is the manager at Prairie Home Cemetery.
We recognize that not everybody wants to have a shrouded, unembalmed body placed in the soil.
We're going to own a piece of the prairie.
Yeah, isn't that nice? Robert and Marilyn already bought their plot at Prairie Home, though at first they thought they had decided on cremation.
Everything else seems to be taking up space, but then a friend of ours told us that you're polluting when you're cremated.
And he's an organic gardener, so, you know, we like the natural stuff.
Our bodies can act as compost and make things grow.
And after years together and growing a family.
Yeah, I was going to ask, you've been together in life, you want to be together in death?
Yeah, it doesn't matter that much.
That doesn't matter that much.
When you're dead, you're dead.
In the committal area, there are stones that will have the names of those buried in the prairie engraved. But Annette also doesn't mind not having a tombstone for her dad.
The person, when they're gone, becomes spirit.
Still, she comes to the prairie often to be close to her dad and remember the simplistic values of life.
He was a wonderful father, and it was so meaningful to us to know that that one final thing that we could do for him, that we could honor that.
Now, Prairie Home Cemetery digs the grave 6 feet. It's still well above the water table, but that's also why embalming isn't allowed when buried this way. It's considered, Mike and Carol, a green burial without any chemicals.
Not for everybody, but I can see why people would be interested. Plus, it'd be a lot cheaper.
And it's a beautiful location.
Yeah. Thanks, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.